from Mariah Vaughn on behalf of the Flint Hills Human Rights Campaign.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mariah Vaughn, and I'm representing and am a current board member for the Flint Hills Human Rights Project. So we are a nonprofit organization that advocates and serves as a resource for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and non-cis het members of the Manhattan, Kansas, and Flint Hills communities. So we have a mailing list of over 500 people and a social media presence that consistently reaches over 2,000 people on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So we have a far reach with queer and allied voters in our area. So I've lived in Riley County my entire life, and I very much love the connections and community that I've been able to forge here. I attended Riley County grade school and high school. I went to K-State to earn my undergraduate and graduate degrees, and continued on there to teach and help shape a program for first-year students that helps them to find their own purpose and community while at the university. I've also been an out and proud queer woman since 2004. This is my home, and I've had the honor and privilege of seeing and being a part of movements for positive, equitable, and inclusive change, including the years-long fight for the amendment to the City of Manhattan Non-Discrimination Ordinance, adding sexual orientation and gender identity to the discrimination prohibition. I also married my wife here at Sunset Zoo in front of hundreds of supportive family members, friends, and amazing colleagues, which I never dreamed possible when I first came out at 18. While I've had many joyous moments, there have also been painful repercussions of being visibly queer in our county. In public, I've often been followed, verbally harassed, and threatened. Just a few months ago, at the beginning of the pandemic, I tried to go for a walk with my wife around our neighborhood to get a little change of scenery beyond our living room. So during that 30 minutes or so that we were out holding hands, we were honked at twice and yelled at once in 30 minutes. So while this is an example of an interpersonal issue, moments like these come about due to larger systemic injustices. Despite many successes, both locally, nationally, and worldwide, we still have a long way to go towards equity and justice. This is particularly true within our current political climate and with the continued dismantling of federal protections and resources for LGBTQ Americans, such as the position that laws and regulations that prohibit discrimination on the basis of sex did not cover a person discriminated against for being gay or transgender. From employment to housing to healthcare to education and to our institutions of justice, LGBTQ Americans' rights are being systemically undone. Our LGBT community here still needs the support and advocacy of those in positions of power, such as potential county commissioners like you. Our organization and other voters need to know that you will affirm our right to exist and support our LGBTQ community in your policy decisions. So our questions are, would you support passing a resolution adding gender identity and sexual orientation to a non-discrimination ordinance at the county level? And would you use your platform to speak out whenever state or federal law tries to erode the progress made locally?
Ms. Focke.
Okay, I was here in Manhattan when the city passed the first ordinance, and it passed, but then the next commission came in and repealed it, and then they went back and did another one that cut back a couple words, but I think the issue was transgender that really they had to take out. So I was kind of surprised that the county did not have that ordinance, and I would definitely consider everybody's rights as a county commissioner, and would advocate to change that on the county level so that that type of an ordinance would be written into the county structure. I would also like to see a way that these ordinances and these rights that are passed cannot be repealed by the next commission or by the next group of people. And a lot of that happens by being together as constituents, as citizens of Riley County, and understanding each other. A lot of it's as education. And we are going through a massive cultural, social change in not only in Kansas, Riley County, but in the entire country. And everybody, we are going to have to face all these issues. So, but I do support as one of your next county commissioners. I would support working on that issue and making.
Mr. Matta.
Hi, Mariah. I'm very sorry about the ordeals that you've been through in town. As far as the a resolution on this, I could only support something that had strong First Amendment protections for religion and free speech. Also, there would need to be protection for women's sports and privacy rights. Such things as not allow biological boys and men competing in girls and women's sports. I have 2 daughters. Or biological men being allowed to stay in battered women's shelters, as well as general biological privacy rights. Lastly, it could not include punitive criminal or civil penalties, so it'd be more of a proclamation or resolution with non-binding arbitrary reconciliation of an issues approach. I would also want the small cities to retain their home rule regarding the issue, and obviously Manhattan to maintain their home rule.
Ms. Fang.
First, I'd like to say thank you to the Flint Hills Human Rights Project for being a leader in our community for human rights, especially among the LGBTQ+ community, and for being a persistent voice for equity and inclusion here in Riley County. To answer your question, yes, I would. After doing a lot of homework on this, it is unclear to me whether there is even a non-discrimination ordinance or policy to begin with. And frankly, I would not be surprised if that were to be true. Recently, a former Riley County employee shared with me that a few years ago, a co-worker had made racist remarks. And when they brought this to the attention of their supervisor and then to the county commission, these concerns were dismissed and swept under the rug. This is unacceptable. Therefore, I would advocate alongside the Flint Hills Human Rights Project and any other equal rights advocates for a non-discrimination ordinance, which includes gender identity and sexual orientation, so that our community is a safe space for all, and to hold all county employees, the county commission included, accountable to a standard that is at its core about basic human rights. Thank you.
Mr. McKinley.
Part of the thing is, I think this issue has been taken care of. The Kansas Human Rights Commission in August revised their regulations because based on the Bostock versus Clayton County decision of the U.S. Supreme Court, which extended human rights for these categories, the commission moved to apply gender identity and sexual orientation to the Kansas Act Against Discrimination. By extension, that state law will also govern over Riley County. I tried looking online, I couldn't find the actual wording of the regulation on their Human Rights Commission website, but I did find a lot of news reports regarding how this has been applied statewide. So I believe it's already covered now.